Hello, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a Beyond the Summit presentation of the iLeague Season 3 Chinese qualifiers. Here we've got Hyperglory Team versus TongFu here in the group stage, and this is the second game of a two-game series. Just coming off an incredible Game 1 that lasted nearly an hour with some incredible back and forth. Tiny Wisp being a major part of that, but also some great carry action from U9. And it looks like we're seeing a bit of a mirror matchup as far as the draft goes. Different draft order, but still the same picks. It feels like HTT feel like they could take on that same composition if they just played a little bit differently. What do you think about that, PimpmuckL?
Dude, differently and stuff. Yeah, that's not what the draft is, that's for sure. But look at this, TongFu, they are not going to be doing anything with this Brewmaster. He was such an incredible nuisance. It was one of the whole reasons why HTT could actually stay in the game for so long, just because of this base race style top lane with the Rex down. So I fully agree with this. Get the Brew out of the equation. Air is still a great player, but his Brew is just completely crazy. So yeah, nicely done there. Lycan once again was banned. He was banned last game as well. I wonder what this is all about. I'm not sure if TongFu have like a crazy history with the Lycan, but in the current meta he is good. But I do not think that he's particularly strong. He's still great, but yeah, you know. So I'm just wondering if we're gonna see a Drow Ranger finally.
I really don't feel it's that great with the Shadow Fiend. Like, if they go for the Drow Ranger, I'm all for it, but I would like a utility mid. I would like a Puck or an Invoker or something like that to control the fights a little better. You bring in the Shadow Fiend, you're putting damage upon damage, you're just making your glass cannon all the more brittle, if not that much more pungent. So I think they're just going to go with pretty much exactly what we saw last time. It really feels like both sides feel that they have the superior potential to take that draft if it's exactly the same. Like, essentially saying, okay, TongFu, they obviously just won the game, so they feel like, yes, we won, we know that this draft works, and it's going to work against what HTT are bringing. So unless they throw a curveball, we're going to keep drafting the same. HTT, so far, seem to be thinking the strategy is just, in general, bring the same thing, try to do it differently, this time without the Brewmaster, as that has been banned out. So we'll see. Lina coming into play. We've seen Pretty Hall play a lot of Lina, so I expect that's going to be a support. But of course, Air does have the option to take it to a solo lane. But if I'm seeing it right, it's going to be IO Tiny mid, Lina plus Air in the safe lane, playing a different hero.
Okay, so this is an exact mirror of the side of TongFu, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how mid lane goes this time around, because with a bit less unnecessary diving from ZSMJ, I do have a feeling mid is going to be incredibly hard. Maybe they're going to just like safe lane the Tiny now to mix it up.
10 seconds.
They definitely could. I have seen them run like safe lane Sven, and I feel it has a pretty similar mentality there. Just get the Sven online. They usually couple it with a Magnus, so that would be a pretty telling pick if they went for that. If you look at it, TongFu really don't have that hard of like silence. They don't really lock down heavy casters, so I really feel like there's a lot of value in those big AoE wombo combo abilities just because they can't be negated so easily. I could see Magnus blinking in, getting a really good RP. I could see, obviously, like we talked about Enigma. The problem is I'm not sure how much reliance they can put on their stand-in for that kind of a big play. I mean, how'd you feel about the Batrider overall in that last game? Do you feel like that was on par with what you'd expect from a stand-in, or did they need a little bit more?
The whole issue with this is that he got zoned out so incredibly hard that there was nothing he could really do in the top lane. So he had to fall back to the jungle. Now the new quote-unquote Batrider is like, no, it's just not gonna happen in the jungle. So he had such a late blink, and it felt like, I don't know, but it felt like it was, the idea behind this was still like a 6-1-8-3 thing. So he was using less stacks than he should in the new patch. Maybe it just wasn't that much practice. Still, it's just hard to pull off. I can't fault anyone for this. It's just incredibly hard. But now here comes a Puck and a Lina, both of which do not have this luxury of falling back into the jungle as much. The Lina can do very nicely, the Puck as well with some stacks, but they can't really, you know, they can still be more active around the map early on, and I like this a lot. I think you really need to be able to sit on the Shadow Fiend, keep him down. The Clockwork is going to be roaming around, the Witch Doctor Visage, yeah, sure, but what is the carry gonna be? Because you do have a...
Whoa. That is
That is not the Luna? Hello?
No, that is exactly the opposite. That is as far from Luna as you can get, it would feel like. I mean, still the same amount of legs, perhaps, with the Panther, but as it is, they expected HGT to last ban the Luna. In this case, they picked up the 4 same exact heroes, so it just makes sense. Why not, you know, ban out the last pick? So they expected that, immediately snap at the Centaur Warrunner, and throw HGT off. They already burned through a ton of reserve time, so they've got 20 seconds to deal with a draft that's completely different tempo than what we saw in the last game. The Centaur is going to be all about fighting in the 15 to 25 minute mark. Those fights are going to be his to blink in and jump on and just steamroll through. They've got initiation, they've got damage. This is going to be a lot like the games we saw yesterday, where it's just a bloodbath, and as the dust settles, we see one team prevail. I really feel like HGT really have to respond really well to this level of aggression, because this is not the same game. 4 out of 5 of the same heroes, but one pick changes it completely, and TongFu are going to be taking the fight to HGT all over the map.
You know, picking up a slug. Wait, what? Okay, yeah, it makes sense though.
Okay, yeah, we have seen Air run the Tiny with before. It's not as common as ZSMJ running it, but it feels like this is something they're more comfortable with overall. So safe laning the Slark with the Lina, and then still mid laning the Io with the Tiny.
I wonder if you put the Centaur in mid.
I think they're going to safe lane the Centaur. They've been doing that a lot. Is safe lane, blink farming for U9.
Sure, but I mean, it's against Wisp. Chances are he's gonna get shut down hard. Because Witchdoctor, yeah, he was saving him last game, but it's so much pressure on the shoulders of the poor Witch to really just keep up with saving this Shadow Fiend all the time.
I feel like the sacrifice, though, might be worth it, in the sense that the Centaur blink just comes out so quickly. Because if you've only got, like, maybe one relocate under your belt, by the time the blink dagger comes through from the Centaur, and he's got that Stampede up, just looking at just a lot of potential for that hero. But it looks like we are going to go for a quick remake here, as everybody's having some ping issues. So AP remake all around. Do you want to talk about the draft while we wait in the lobby?
Sure. Okay,
so just a quick recap before I disconnect out, guys. We're looking at Visage, Shadow Fiend, Witch Doctor, Clockwork, and Centaur for TongFu, Slark, Puck, Tiny, Wisp, and Lina for HGT on the Dire.
The perks of being a co-caster, I can actually just open stream real quick and have no FPS issues. Yay! That's juicy stuff. No, but I'm honestly surprised TongFu went with the 4 exact same picks. And I'm even more surprised that HGT actually banned out the Luna. Because I do not believe the Luna was the whole issue of the whole game. Oh, I'm joining. Oops. Okay.
So what do you feel like was the real issue in that game? Was it just the Tiny couldn't really do enough offensive, or was it the focus fire that was received by Haka and the Wisp? Like, what do you feel really broke the fights down?
We saw it like time and time again, especially early on. You have a nice fight going your way, and then suddenly Kaka just died on the Wisp. And everything went south, because the whole farm was on the Tiny. You had so much control on the Brew. That's great, but there was no damage. There was no one really chasing. It was all just this Tiny running around headless without the Wisp. So yeah, definitely... Oh, come on. Did I just get DC'd? It was just... The Wisp was the whole thing. Yules was a good item choice in retrospective. I still would have liked to see some sort of cloak on someone at least. But it's... I mean, you need so much to actually survive up against Shadow Fiend's right legs, the Witch Doctor ult just running through, a Clockwork who is damn good at singling yard, and my Dota just crashed. Jesus.
Alright, so you know, just 1 second. Oh, okay, they started. Oh.
I actually just lost the video game.
Yeah, we all lost.
Alright. You go enjoy your solo cast, bro.
It looks like that. You have any closing thoughts about this matchup and what we're looking at, since you know, this may be your last contribution to the broadcast?
The last contribution to the broadcast. Alright, TongFu, don't fail this. Come on, boys. You can show it. You can play this lineup. I have faith. Like, once again, 2-0. Convincingly, please, this time around, because the last game was far from... And just simple mistakes were really costing them the game for a long period until they closed it out. So yeah, TongFu 2-0, come on. Let's do it.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Once again, this was PimpmuckL. You can see in the top right corner of your screen, PimpmuckL. Follow him on Twitter. Obviously, happy to have you, man, and I'll catch you later.
Enjoy, dude.
See ya. Alright, so going on, continuing with the game as a solo cast here, as we see the AP remake coming through. This has been, this is Hyperglory Team versus TongFu, Game 2 of a 2-game series. Now, we've got Slark, Tiny, Puck, Lena, Io on the side of HGT, and TongFu, Visage, Clockwork, Witch Doctor, Shadow Fiend, and Centaur. So, as we were talking about, the tempo really favors TongFu here. They're going to look to really gain momentum and start snowballing and killing within the first 20 minutes of the game. And the really neat thing about Centaur, in contrast to the Luna, is that not only is he able to initiate for the team alongside the Clockwork, but he's also able to still do that amount of burst damage that we saw from the Luna previously. So essentially, looking at it here, we had the Eclipse coming out in the fights, focusing down the Wisp, as he mentioned, and now we're going to be seeing the Double Edge do pretty much the same thing every single time. Double Edge on the Wisp, and it's going to make it very difficult for Kaka to find a safe place to maneuver, just because they can stampede right past you onto the next target. Now, it is worth noting that the Dream Coil can kind of wrangle the Stampede a little bit. Just put them in a little circle, make sure that they can't maneuver outside of it, and penning them in like that definitely enables HGT to execute their team fight more effectively, but it's still really difficult for the Wisp to be confident going into any aggressive tether plays. Still going to go for the same opener here, though. Kaka drops down a ward, is going to be going for the Bottle Rush here and cutting down some trees. Now, the Dire side is a little bit different for this matchup here. We're going to see a lot more stacking, double stacking coming in from the Wisp, and that's going to enable the Tiny to build up his farm a lot more rapidly unless U9 do something about it. So we'll see if they can keep tabs on the jungle, see how this strat works out for them, but as it stands right now, yeah, we're seeing
30 seconds to battle.
them just kind of control the pole camp, block this one off with the Eastern Ward. There are 2 sentry spots here. There's the one here, and there's the one in here. And they'll even get an Obs Ward behind the tower. So they're going to get something out of this. Either Vision behind the enemy tower, or they're going to get the pole camp on lockdown. Either way, pretty good stuff. But again, emphasis is going to be here on the Bounty Rune. Io, Tiny, don't want to mess with them here, and they're going to be able to get the rune for Kaka unless Kabu goes for something crazy. A huge cog knockback. That would be extremely aggressive, and it might be a toss back onto the Lena. No, they don't go for it. They won't be connecting. If they get the toss back onto Lena, they get the pounce, then they get the Light Circle Ray, they get the kill. But as it is, it's just a Bounty Rune trade-off. And we'll go through some introductions here. GX is going to be running the Visage again. I mean, I guess everybody's going to be doing the same thing. Kabu, Clockwork, Melody Lovers, Witch Doctor, Shadow Fiend played by Red, U9 on the Centaur. He's the only one that's playing something different. And he's going to be going to the safe lane with all these tangos. So, we'll have to keep our eye on the mid lane. It's going to be more so a 2v2 this time around. They obviously know exactly what happened wrong the first time around up against the IO Tiny. So they go ahead and fix that with a babysitter for the first few minutes here in the mid. Dire Observer Ward coming down for ZSMJ, just keeping coverage here, and it's actually pretty interesting to see the Slark in this position. So they expected an aggressive stance, and that's no surprise. Oh boy, just the Grave Chill harassment against the Stout Shield, which doesn't block as heavily now, is quite painful. But we're going to see him rotate up. Essentially, they expected an aggressive tri-lane from TongFu based on their movements. Then they realized that it's going to be like a 2-1-2 strat, and they rotate the Puck down bottom, the Slark up top. And I think this reactive play is really good, but it is going to cost them a little bit in terms of TP and just time in general to farm. We're going to see the Pounce connect, though, so they might be able to make up for it with a First Blood. Light Circle Ray connecting onto Kabu, continuously putting out the Essence Shift, and they get the kill. Really great way to start things off for HGT, completely making up for the musical lanes they had to play to get the configuration they were looking for. Grave Chill harassment still going to be very frustrating for Puck, but he's got the phase shift. He's going to be able to dodge out a few hits there, and that's going to make it work out in a pretty even exchange. So, looking at the next move forward, we're going to be seeing current CS for the Shadow Fiend right now is 7-1. Getting the Bracer out for him so he can survive the combo. I think that's really smart. Some people will make the mistake of going for the boots, but I feel the Bracer is really going to help out in the instances where he gets hit by tiny spells. We're going to see, however, another rotation come through. GX looking for a 2v2 here. Now they go on Cabo and he wants to get involved. He's going to go for the Grave Chill onto Pretty Hall first. They get the knockback onto ZSMJ. He's trying to trade hits. He drains the mana of the Visage. Visage actually can't cast a Soul Assumption. Oh, no. Oh, I'll talk about that in a second, but Cabo on the sideline is going to Magic Stick away from Lena. There is no Dragon Slave, so there is no kill. I'm really surprised Lena's not level 2. But it's still going to be a Cog knockback onto ZSMJ, and now he, too, is out of mana. But the big deal here is you look, and Visage right now has plenty of mana. He has 260. The reason he was short is because every single time you get hit by Essence Shift, it's a little mini mana burn. Every point of intelligence equates to 13 max mana. And if you get that little mana burn out and you drain that intelligence, it's actually going to cost you a little tiny chunk of your mana pool. And essentially, he knew he had enough mana for the combo, but after a few right clicks from the Slark, that changed, and he couldn't go for the Soul Assumption in there. So they couldn't go offensive, they couldn't focus the Slark, they had to disengage, and although they survive, it's a bad trade in the end. So that was pretty interesting, but we're going to see down bottom, the Centaur just farming up pretty freely here, 16 and 6. The Puck does get 10 and 2 for himself, so it's not like he's completely outclassed here. And we'll see, of course, Air pushing forward in the mid. They're looking for rune control for the 4-minute mark. They want to expend their bottle charges here and now. And they do some good damage, but it's not going to be anything in kill threshold. We have the Sav as well as the Bracer here on the Shadow Fiend, trying to make sure it's fine. Oh, this is a dangerous move. Offensive Orb is great for last hitting, but you get caught up by that Stomp, and it might be a point of no return. But for now, he'll just trade hits with the return and the Tangos. And wait for a better opportunity when maybe another support rotation comes through. Because right now, Witch Doctor's focused mid, Visage is focused top. As far as the jungle stacks, as we see no kills happening just yet, we've got a double stack on the medium camp. Looks like a triple stack on the hard camp. And then looking over the Dire side, you've got a double Centaur Hellbear. And you've got a nice hodgepodge of Centaurs, Wolves, and Ogres here for the medium camp. A triple stack there. So, this top lane is actually contesting ZSMJ pretty well. Honestly, I wasn't sure how well an off-lane Clockwork Visage combo would work out, but in this case, ZSMJ feels pretty threatened. He's not able to last hit as directly. Kabu's not getting out that much either, but their emphasis here is to just mess with ZSMJ. They have no other intentions than just to stifle his momentum, since they already fed First Blood. If the First Blood hadn't come out, I don't think Visage would be top, but as it did, they need to make sure he doesn't get too much item tempo. Otherwise, he's going to be somebody they can't really deal with towards the mid-game. Air fishing for an Avalanche, not going to find it, but just going to rely on that bottle to fill him up anyways. Oh, Cast coming out. They're going to get a double raise here onto Air, dropping him pretty low. They'll break down some trees. They'll pop the Haste Rune and get some bottle sips flowing. So he'll be A-okay, but they are going to be pretty reliant on the 6-minute rune spawn. In the meantime, Puck going for the Phase Boots here. Good in a 1v1 matchup, just to get those extra last hits out, just to have that extra bit of mobility. He's actually trying to dodge return with his Phase Shift, but it's hard to time based on when the attack lands, which is now the case. So, Witch Doctor just kind of moving about, controlling the lane. It looks like they want to both control the top rune spawn, and they've got, 3 here. So it's going to be forcing the Wisp to rotate to the bottom one. As far as Dire Vision, though, they have no idea what's lurking in the shadows. So they just have to make the right guess, and it seems to be fine here. Just walking in the woods at night. No problems here. But double damage rune comes out for Kaka, which is going to be great. Sometimes it's really hard to see the particle effects for runes on Wisp. I don't know if that's kind of like a stealth buff to him, where he's just a little bit stronger with runes for that reason, especially in, but yeah, I mean, right now as it is, they're kind of moving about, looking for an opening that won't come once they realize they're under this Dire Observer Ward. There are 2 supports on the high ground. Normally these supports would be just impossible to see, but with that Dire Observer, it's very clear, and they're not going to get caught out by Cask or anything. Slark is actually going to get a kill on the Clockwork up top here, so catching him out with the Pounce, a Dark Pact, and a Shadow Dance. Able to do just enough damage to bring him down. It's an extended engagement there, but the Clockwork just finding some difficulty disengaging from it, and that Shadow Dance being the trump card in that matchup. I mean, the Slark being level 6 versus a level 4 is already really nice, but being able to find that opening is a pretty easy kill without the Visage to help. So we'll switch it over to net worth to see that the Shadow Fiend is right now about to farm up all these camps, jumping up from 3,100 up to close to 33. And that's going to, actually 3,400, wow. Really good momentum swing for Red here. He's going to be able to build up towards his next set of items pretty quickly, whether that be the Treads, Magic Wand, anything like that sort. In the meantime, down bottom, Puck just kind of building up standard core. Might even go for the Blink Dagger next if he feels it's appropriate. Any other major item progression? I don't really feel that's the case. I mean, Slark obviously is doing pretty well right now, but it's going to be mid where we do see a Grave Chill coming out at the very least, and Wisp, just in case, is ready to TP and give him some fountain regen. There's the bottle. That's going to be setting him up for the 8-minute rune spawn, and they should just go top for this one, yeah. So pretty passive in the laning phase. I mean, like, this is all kind of just laying the groundwork for what happens next. U9 getting the Blink Dagger, and them starting to just pretty much go every minute. Every 90 seconds, they're looking to take a fight once that Blink Dagger's online. But for right now, just getting their levels up here, getting the familiars online, that kind of thing. Now, it is worth noting that Stampede does affect the familiars, so they're going to be able to pursue really well with a lot of easy right clicks. Oh, Puck thinks there's a rune here, sees there's not. Well, I'm wondering if they could actually find an opportunity here with Cask, the Centaur, Hoof Stomp. They will combo it up. The double-edged Stampede. No Stampede required as they just right-click him down. So great pickup there with the Invis-Rune that was not observed. Scared going to go in, though. Avatos combo right onto the Shadow Fiend. Big damage coming out, but it's not enough to kill him just yet. He'll go for the Requiem, and he will wreck him. Going in for the long-range right-click to finish the job here. They bring down 2 in the mid. That is a 3-kill swing in favor of TongFu. Absolutely amazing. And they're just going to push forward on that. Bottling up, Voodoo Restoring up while the Bracer's on the ground. But they will just put a lot of damage into this tier 1 with the Glyph now exhausted. So really good combo there. And the big thing here was you usually don't see a level 7 Shadow Fiend with the Requiem skilled. But he skilled it at 6 so that he could make a play like that if they catch him out in melee range. And it just was not expected by them. With the combination of the Bracer tankiness and the Requiem at 6, the SF is able to turn that completely around, and of course they get the tower on the back of that. So 5k net worth suddenly for the SF as he takes both of those kills and the last hit on the tower. And if you compare that to like the time that he's been fighting, that's a 2k net worth advantage. Absolutely insane. Down bottom, we're going to see a TP rotation here. Dream Coil coming out right onto the Centaur. Might just have to fight this one instead, but the silence locks him down, and they'll give the kill to the Slark with the pounce. So we're going to see back and forth. The net worth will shift, but it looks like with this banner room pickup, Red is still going to be looking large and in charge. I'm curious what he goes for with all this gold. He's banking 1,800. A Blink Dagger kind of sounds nice, but obviously you want to get involved in the fights, and you probably still want to go for the mechanism just so you can play the tempo lineup the way it was meant to be. Because against the phase shift of the Puck and the pounce of the Slark, the Requiem isn't always the best play. So Yule's Requiem isn't always an instant kill, and it's probably not the preferable item in this instance. Midas coming out for Slark. Wow, that is, I mean, it's well-timed Midas, not even 11-minute mark, and he picks it up after Power Treads, Poor Man's Shield, Bassi. But it is worth noting that this game is going to be decided based on how quickly U9 can find kill opportunities and end it. So I guess it just is a way to secure the late game. Slark knows he's going to be fighting frequently, so if he builds with the Midas and keeps at least the Transmute on cooldown by continuously activating it, then that's going to be allowing him to stay involved, stay progressing while still fighting very frequently. But it may punish him pretty soon here, as he won't have any easy means of escaping against a lofty gank, but they're the ones trying to be aggressive here onto U9, and it couldn't be a better time. If they find U9 right here, they're going to be able to deny this Blink Dagger again. Oh my, what a great time to kill him off. A second kill against the Centaur, and he was only 100 gold away from his Blink Dagger. Now, down to 1900, they need this tower in order to actually bring him back into this game. So Red will right-click that down. Familiar's doing some good work, and the last hit will be going to the Shadow Fiend. So that leaves the Centaur only 150 gold away from that Blink. But meanwhile, pressure in mid as well as bottom lane. And the bottom is where the kill's going to be. But tether out of the hookshot cogs. Not sure exactly why Kabu went for that, but there was a small chance that succeeds. A very small one. So the tower will fall to the Puck, actually. FaZe Boot's doing some work there to finish off the tower, and that is going to give some nice momentum to HGT. Some much-needed momentum, too. They need to kind of get their feet underneath them before TongFu try to sweep them away. So we're going to see Medallion of Courage on GX once again. Air is going to be rushing out an Agadim, similar to the way the ZSMJ did. But the mechanism is already up for Red. The Blink Dagger up for the Centaur soon. And they're already pushing out a mid. Familiar have 5 charges apiece on their bonus damage, so they'll put some good damage into the tower, but eventually have to fall back. And in fact, actually may die to the tower. Oh, resummon. Now ZSMJ looking at U9, but he's got his Blink Dagger. There's no high value kill to find here. There is, however, an Invis Rune looking for Wisp. The easier pickup, goes for the Requiem, cancels it out. Only has a few seconds left to do this. They are actually blocking the hookshot right now, but it's on cooldown anyway. So they Requiem onto 2. This is going to be a great fight for TongFu as they bring down the Wisp immediately and finish off Air in his retreat. So not the flashy one-shot Requiem, but perfectly effective at accomplishing what they need to do there. And there's just no escape after that point. Just good usage and good pincer. Melody, as well as U9, looking for an opening here. ZSMJ pops the Dark back. As soon as this is gone, they're going to blink on him, but he is able to pounce up before they make that play. Still going for the Stampede. Not sure about that one. There's a lot of distance, but the hook shot, oh, blocked out by the Blinking Centaur. I think it would have been blocked out by the Familiars in either case, but it is just going to be a failed initiation with 2 ultimates expended there. So they're still going to try to control the map here. Ward coming out on the high ground plateau. Melody Lover is now scouting things out to the tiny camp farm, but he has already cleared his stacks here. And there are actually no stacks remaining across the entire jungle. DD Rune on the Slark. Not sure how well he's going to be able to use it. Really depends on initiation. If he is able to stay in the fight for a long time, that could be a really big deal. They throw a creep at him to actually get vision up into this area, and they're actually going to go in here with a double damage rune onto red. U9 goes for the stomp, Dark Pact on cooldown, but he is in the Shadow Dance. Now right-clicking onto Kabu, kills Kabu so quickly, and the Visage too. He can't get the Requiem off, or sorry, the Soul Assumption off. Death Ward though, doing a lot of damage onto the puck. Now Air in the thick of things. But it looks like ZSMJ is not going to be able to pursue further. It's Light Circle ready to connect, and that's what's going to get them the kill. A double kill for the Slark. U9 making it a trade, but it's still a bad trade for them, as it's going to be 4 for 2, maybe 5. Kaka missing the last Spirit. Oh, man. Still an insanely good fight for HGT. They isolate their targets well. They do a lot of good damage. Wisp actually doing a surprising amount of damage in that fight. 1,600. Rocket Flare, Familiar Strikes, almost bringing them down. But I'm really impressed with how much damage the Wisp was able to do in that. Just like 3 different sets of the Spirits will allow you to do at least 1,200 damage there. But that's still really good. Kaka played that well. I mean, obviously he's an extremely experienced Wisp player, but that's insane. Now we see not only Tiny the Slark, but the Wisp putting out damage and them cleaning house. They actually bring it back the other way completely. 1,500 gold and experience advantage for Hyperglory team. Still, they're going to go for a play up top here. Hookshot connects onto Air, locking him in place as long as they can. But it's going to be Kabu that has to retreat after the Avatos combo comes through. Now Wisp comes in, but the cast connects onto double stomp, double edge, and there's Air going down as well. Great combo, great flank to gank. And yeah, they've got complete control of the Radiant jungle right now. ZSMJ knows that there's an Observer ward up here, though. Shadow Dance passive allows him to know if they can see him or not. So he sees that ward, they de-ward it, and he provides kind of a bit of cloaked coverage for Lina while she accomplishes this. Still, his main goal is to get that Midas back off cooldown as quickly as possible. Problem is, the nearest creep is like all the way down here. You can't Midas the Ancients, of course, so he's got a long run into the enemy jungle just to use his Midas, and it might be able to snipe it from help. Oh, the Hellbear! He doesn't use his Midas, he just goes for the kill. He's going to be able to bring down red here, but the Requiem actually turning it around. You can't man up onto Shadow Fiend without a BKB, and SF looks like he'll be going down, but they commit the Dream Coil and the Slark's life for it. So, all in all, not too bad, and the relocate forced out as well. Oh my! Kaka gets the relocate away. Oh wait, that was relocate in, my bad. But still. The one thing I was going to talk about is Slark actually didn't use his Midas on either of those 2 neutral creeps in the jungle. So what that means is that he actually, for his entire death time of duration, plus 30 seconds prior, plus 10 to 15 seconds after, he's not using the Midas. And that really, it's as if he picked it up 2 minutes later, just straight up. Like that Midas that came out at 10.5 minutes is suddenly at least a 12 or 13 minute Midas just in terms of efficiency. But we'll see him TPing down bottom, making use of it now, and yeah, I mean, as it stands, the kill on the Shadow Fiend is still a pretty big deal, but he's got so much going for him already. He's 8,200 net worth. He's going to be able to bounce back in his souls pretty quickly. Mechanism is up. BKB is on its way. Like, this is a really good spot for Red to be in, even if he does go down. Still, Blink Dagger up on the Puck. There, got the Buckler up on Kaka in pursuit of a mech. And we will see a jump on him, so that's going to be denied pretty quickly. He buys to try to deny. Oh, they get the hook shot on air too. So they're going to be able to bring down the Tiny inside the cogs. He'll go for a nice combo here. Does some good damage. Does kill the Clockwork in return. But Malediction, Earnest Shadows, Death Ward, and the Double Edge to finish him off. So, good pick off there. The Visage does fall to ZSMJ's jump here with the Shadow Blade. It looks like it was a solo. Well, wait, I guess we can check that out. No, we can't. We can, yeah. Lina actually getting the kill there onto the Visage without using Laguna Blade. So, good play there. Just catching him out. One stun equals a lot of damage. But what I was going to talk about is the Wisp. Actually, the way he purchased, essentially just wasted a lot of his gold. He died, and then he started purchasing items, and you lose unreliable gold, and then you start tapping into your reliable. And the end result is Kaka is going to be hurting for that mechanism if he dies the second time. He's actually died 4 times already this game. It's not been the best one for him. Still, the Slark is bouncing back. He's finding some farm all across the map. He's doing a lot better than he once was. Shadow Blade is up. Probably looking at Silver Edge for this game long term, but I still think that BKB needs to come first. It's too good against the Shadow Fiend Requiem. Otherwise, you have to always be running around and dodging away from those kinds of spells. It just becomes very frustrating for you. So BKB, I think, is pretty important. But we'll see his choice pretty soon. Right now, the Ag Scepter is still in progress for Air. 500 gold away from that one. And we're just going to see TongFu go for what I think they're best at right now, which is 5-man Dota. Just go in, they have the BKB, the mech, they have the Centaur, and they want to make a play happen. So why not just go for the tower real quick? The Familiars, I'm not seeing them. Oh, they're down bottom under the tower. So maybe they need to head this way for right now. They're just kind of counter-pushing down bottom. But either way, the tier 2 is going to be a pretty easy siege for TongFu, I think. And that's not even going to be fortified, not going to be defended whatsoever. It's going to be an attempt to deny it with a cute little orb jump play there from the Puck. Blade doesn't connect with the auto attack, and no harm, no foul. Mechanism coming out from the Wisp. Kaka now in a good spot this game. It takes a little while, but foregoing the Urn of Shadows, he's able to get the mechanism out at 20 minutes, and that's going to enable him to do a lot of healing in the fights. A lot of much needed healing, in fact. Oh, Air almost getting cut out by the Familiars, but they don't have the Stone Form available, so he goes ahead and just TP's out, finishes up the Ag Scepter. And they look for map control again. It's actually really interesting to see all these Sentry Wards placed out by the Radiance and Dire alike. It's just this web of sentries back and forth. We've seen some D-Ward on D-Ward action, but essentially, I mean, they've been just kind of placing them all around the map to get not only Observer Ward control, but also this aspect of evading the Shadow Blade of the Slark. They want to know when he's approaching so they can turn fights against him. And that's going to be easiest to do when they have sight. So, really good active usage of the Sentry Wards. And we're going to see Melody Lovers look to Sentry out. I'm not sure. They just got the Radiant Ward down under a Dire Observer and Sentry, and that's not great. But it looks like they're going to disengage from there. So they trade a tier 1 for some damage on the tier 2, but Puck goes in. Dream Coil onto 2. Red instant BKB. Great Requiem. Doing some good damage with a phase shift from the Puck. He dodges it all, and Air comes in with the relocate on the backside. So they're going to kill off the Witch Doctor, the Visage, and now look for more. Inside the cogs, it will be the death of the Slark, but still, Air is in a position where he can do some good damage. Dunks down Kabu, jams it in with the toss across the map, and now Pretty Hot is actually going to be gunned down by the Familiars. Shadow Fiend will fall on the tail end of it, though. And that leaves a lot to be desired for TongFu's teamfight as U9 disengages. The first to go in, the first to leave as well. It just shows that HTT are able to fight really well in the right circumstances. They get a good initiation. Puck does an amazing phase shift dodge of the Requiem there that just negates the spell entirely almost. And from there, they move in. They use the mech pretty well. I think they use the mech. I'm not too sure. But no matter the case, they fought it really strong, and they're able to take a kill advantage here at 22.5 minutes, which is really good for the late game lineup. We were talking about it in the draft plenty, but by picking up a Centaur instead of a hero that parallels to the Luna in terms of scalability, TongFu sacrificed their late game potential for early game dominance, and right now they're not feeling so dominant. 3k net worth, 5,500 experience. HGT are pulling this one back. If they could just get some map control up, they're in a great position to start taking this game by just in stride, by just out-farming, out-scaling their opposition. The Shadow Fiend can only carry so hard in the end. And Air's going to be able to kill her out 3 stacks of the Ancient Creep. So already benefiting a lot from that cleave, building himself up to past level 14 and to a net worth that actually parallels the Slark and approaches to contest that of the Shadow Fiend. Speaking of Shadow Fiend, farming back up his souls, looking to get involved in the next fight. I don't really feel like you can just lose that fight and say, okay, well, we can't fight anymore, because that obviously went disastrously. It's all about just taking a different approach to it and finding a new opening. They have this lane ward down, a little bit more vision here, but would love to see a ward somewhere in the jungle just to kind of see things as they come by. But at least for now, Sentry Ward is what's going to work. If there's a Shadow-Bladed Slark running in and around, then they're going to see that and trap him in the cog. So good positioning from Kabu, good ward from Melody Lovers, and they'll just stand behind the Shadow Fiend for the slow siege. But in the meantime, we've got the Demolition crew here with the Tiny IO, and they're just going to go in for the tower abruptly. We see the tier 2 falling slowly. It looks like it will fall. No reinforcement. The glyph already expended. But look how fast this tower can drop too. They will glyph it, but can they defend it? 2 TPs back. Familiar is slowing things down, and now 3 TPs on the front line here. This is going to be a big fight if they can force it. Hookshot is going to connect onto nobody. He's not throwing it yet. Doesn't seem certain about it. There's a BKB on the Tiny. I'd be scared too, but eventually you have to make the initiation play. It can't be on the Wisp. He can just tether out. He's going to get caught in the cogs, but then just tether away to the Tiny. So we're going to see the damage come out of the front line here. There's the Dream Coil canceling out the Stampede, but still Pretty Hug gets caught out. ZSMJ under the Sentry Ward, running for his life. Requiem just barely hitting at the maximum radius. Low damage, but he does debuff them. They will be in retreat. Now ZSMJ going back in here, just wants a solo kill, an easy pick, but he doesn't. He has a Shadow Dance immediately and draw them back to the Tiny if they look to pursue. Now it's an awkward position, 4v4. Air has BKB, and there's going to be a jump in from the backside, but again, they're just poking at the sidelines. They're not actually going in until ZSMJ connects with the Shadow Blade. He misses the pounce. Air with the BKB, he's still taking lots of physical damage, and the Death Ward will bring him down. No, this is not how they wanted it to be. The Stone Form is not going to be coming out in time to prevent the TP of the Slark, and the Wisp is going to be able to get out as well. So, could have been worse. 2 heroes could have been picked off in addition to the Tiny, but still. Oh man, the missed pounce means the Witch Doctor survives, and the Witch Doctor surviving means the Death Ward kills Tiny. So, just a butterfly effect of chain of events that leads to a minor disaster for HGT. It's more of a mishap than a disaster, but it still is unfortunate. And we'll see now that they need to just kind of regroup, push together, and make sure that they play it very smooth. Just try to initiate at the right position, take advantage of what's on cooldown. But for now, it's going to be the Radiant taking the main objective here with the Medallion, the presence of the Dork Lord, making it so easy to take down Roshan with the negative armor. So that is going to be the Aegis up on Shadow Fiend, U9, moving forward, looking for a pick. Again, this hill has had like 8 different wards on it. I just back from both sides. They've been very involved in this process. And yeah, we're going to see. That's another anti-Slark ward. This is for the siege. These are sieging sentry wards. They allow you to go and take down the tier 2 without worrying about a Shadow Blade coming in and just ripping you into one. And we're going to see the courier go out to the secret shop. It's going to be the Shadow Fiend looking to pick up maybe a Scotty. He's got a lot of gold heading his way, so I think he's going to be able to pick up the Scotty very shortly. Just needs a point booster, and that's only going to be 300 gold away, so he'll keep it there. And that Scotty's going to be huge. Suddenly he's able to really go toe-to-toe with the big ones. It is probably like his last major spike in power. After this, it's like kind of a power step rather than a power spike. He'll still be able to move forward with new items, but not in comparison to his opposition. We do see U9 popping everything to bring down Kaka, and with the Soul Assumption, they get that kill. Now Air caught out without an ability to TP away. He tries to fight it, but it's just no use. So we're going to see some split push from the Slark, but some direct push from TongFu. They've taken down to the Tiny. They've taken on the West. They will march right up to the high ground. They know this is their time to shine. This is their best chance to take a Rax, and they're going to go for it. Really good spot with the Aegis and the BKB 8 on to the Shadow Fiend. So with Red in such a position, they shouldn't be able to burst him down. He should be able to stay throughout the fight, and they've got everything they need to take these racks. So they're focusing the melee first and foremost. A big pickup there. In fact, I feel like the Slark could have kept on split pushing, could have kept on hitting the tier 2, because there's no way he does anything here just yet. In fact, he'll distract exactly one auto attack, and then they'll still go for the range racks anyway. So ZSMJ not making the most of his time. Maybe he wants to catch them in their retreat, but it's so dangerous against that Aegis. It really is. And they take the racks.
Dire's middle barracks has fallen.
So TongFu walk away with that, a full lane of racks off of that last fight, and just finding out the Tiny and the Wisp with the Centaur jump. That's exactly the play you're looking for. It's just finding those openings. Aghanim Scepter picked up for the Visage. Now he's allowed to go for the Solar Crest next with the 3 familiars at his back, taking wing. And 4 staff probably for the Clockwork, most likely, just to control the fights a little bit better here. Glimmer Cape once again for Melody Lovers, and that will leave Red to go for his Butterfly. Very similar item progression that we saw last game. This time Butterfly comes out on the Shadow Fiend instead of the Luna, since obviously you are only wanting the MKB to counter one major item pickup. In the meantime, Centaur, who went for the BKB post-Blink, is now looking for his Aghanim Scepter, and with the gold that he gets out of those racks, he's actually almost there. He only needs 1100 gold, and suddenly Aghanim Scepter. Plus BKB on Centaur, charging in. He's going to look for a jump. He just needs a little bit more vision. But it's actually the Nightcrawler that sees all, and he's going to be able to disengage. We're actually going to see Tiny and Wisp relocate kind of for a backdoor play, but the problem is the creep wave isn't here. So the Tiny is actually going to get left for this one, and that's a dangerous proposition against the Clockwork, but they'll go for it here. Their timer taking down. They'll leave Air behind and force the Glyph, but what does Air do next? He sticks around. Make sure that the Clockwork is not going to be trying to counter gank on him. And it's actually going to be the Puck that is actually going to get caught out here. Playing around a little bit too cheekily. I mean, that's the cheeky is a word to describe the hero, but now he goes down for nothing. And now we see that there's going to be a self-heals onto Pretty Haw. Air on the front line trying to do some damage, but evading the right clicks. Tiny can't hit him. And now the ZSMJ is going to try to go, but he's on the defensive. Air's on the run. They're losing everything. They're crumbling at the midnight hour. The buyback comes through from the Tiny. ZSMJ looking for a flanking opportunity onto the Visage. He'll go. He'll try for it, but Soul Assumption maxed out. Now flying into the Lena's face. She goes down to the front line. U9 just going to walk away from this one, and now Kabu in a great position to control the fight. ZSMJ going to be going down, and they look for Air. If they force that forward in the Clockwork, they don't even need it. They just got the right-click damage. They still have the Aegis. GG! Oh my, mistakes were made. HGT just tried so hard to bring this one back. They fought, they went into it, but in the end, it's no contest compared to what TongFu bring after just a couple of pickoffs. That's all it takes. 2 major pickoffs coming out. The Tiny unable to fight when they need him to, and suddenly TongFu take it away. Like, it seems kind of jarring to see the game to come to this conclusion when we saw how fleshed out the first game could be, but it just comes down to that Centaur. He's more about initiating, finding pickoffs, finding openings, and team fighting, rather than trying to look to farm efficiently and scale late. So there was just more impetus for U9 to make things happen, and when he connects, he certainly connects. They take HGT down 23-17 in 31 minutes, and that makes it a 2-0 for TongFu. Really good play overall. Great drafts. I mean, obviously, it was kind of the same thing twice, but with a different spin on it in Game 2, and it worked both ways. So, really good showing from TongFu, and pulling a major upside in my mind over HGT. I consider HGT the stronger team. Obviously, that is generally with their offlaner, Westbrook, XTT. Generally speaking, he's the one to play there as an unofficial offlaner for them. And in my mind, that makes HCT stronger when they have their full roster. But here, TongFu running some stand-ins as well and still playing it really smooth. Congrats to TongFu and their victory here in iLeague China. And that actually wraps it up for us here today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If not, that's fine too. But we're going to be seeing TongFu move forward with some good points on the board. And obviously their heads held high looking at the qualifiers. Obviously we got a lot of new information about the TI5 Chinese qualifiers. Both TongFu and HyperGlory team are invited to that qualifier May 25th, so that's going to be fun to see them in action and clashing there on a more prestigious stage. But that's a little ways off for now. It's going to be the last week of iLeague qualifiers. I think we've got 5 or 6 days left in the Chinese division, and then we go on to the next stage. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed these games with me, and we'll see you guys next time. Tomorrow we're going to be at the exact same time, exact same place, Beyond the Summit stream, starting up at 7 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 1300 hours for those on CEST. Anyways, that wraps it up for here today. BeyondTheSummit.tv, at Blazecasting, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early. Thanks for tuning in.